Hi, Brain. I'm just noticing on your email address, your Gmail account, it looks like you have the word Brian. You have the name Brian. So I want to clarify, Brain or Brian? Brian is a common man's name. Brain, obviously, is the organ inside of our head that controls our bodies. Curious which one you are going by these days. Please let me know. In terms of your recording, I think you have a lot of language, which is great, and you seem, even though I know you were probably a little nervous on the recording, and sometimes you were speaking a little bit, with a little bit of halting in your voice, but overall, I think you have a good speaking voice. The major language issue that I really want you to address and work on is that you do not change your verb form. And I know, coming from Chinese, that this is very difficult to remember to do, but it's extremely important when you're speaking English. You said he want to, what he do, he don't want. These are wrong. They are wrong, wrong, wrong. You have to fix them. He wants to, he wants to, he wants to, with an S, he wants to. What he does, what he does, what he does, what he does. He doesn't want, he doesn't want. Okay? So those, when you're using he, she, or it, make sure that you change the form of the verb to agree with your subject. Okay? This is extremely important. So that's the big grammar issue that I'm seeing. In terms of the content, I think I talked to you some about this in my feedback to your written version, but you have a really great introduction. You begin by describing the idea that you will be developing or responding to in your vignettes. You begin with Lanier's opinion, Lanier's idea about paying for information. However, the next thing and the most important part, well, it's equally important, but it's the part to highlight, is what your response is, what your idea is about that. So, for example, if you say, you told me the vignettes, but what is the message of your vignettes? What is the message that Lanier is making that you are describing? So, for example, you could say something like, the information economy that Lanier describes makes me imagine a future where everyone is desperate for even the most basic information, and the people presenting the information are desperate to stop performing this particular identity that everybody is watching. So something like that gives me a headline of the theme or the idea, the way of thinking of how you are describing this. So you could say, in these 3 vignettes, I describe both the public's absurd and ridiculous desire for information, as well as I depict a character who is so tired of having his ideas for sale that he has to hide who he really is. Whatever, however you want to say it, but I just think you need to summarize the main ideas of your vignettes at the beginning. Okay? You use the word coach. So I think it would be helpful if you explain this character before you go into the vignettes. You could have an introductory paragraph, and even I'm using the word paragraph even though it's for a presentation. You could have a sort of a second introduction. So first you introduce Lanier's idea, you introduce your idea about it, what you are presenting what is the theme or the feeling or the message you're showing in your vignettes, and then you can say, in these 3 vignettes, and then give a brief summary there is a main character who is a coach. This coach is extremely popular and sells highly popular videos about his healthy lifestyle, even though he doesn't really care about being healthy. So you can give a general summary of who the character is, and then go into each of the individual vignettes as further detail. You could also, in your introduction, say, throughout these vignettes, so it's kind of a signal phrase, or throughout my storyboard, I chose close-up shots that depict, that invoke the inner feelings of the characters to show how this new information economy makes people feel. And in my vignettes, I'm depicting desperation, a loss of privacy, etc., etc. Whatever you want to say. I mean, it's your ideas. I'm just guessing because you didn't say them clearly. So I don't know if you can follow this, and I'm happy to talk about it more in class, but my general point is that you need to directly state your main ideas. The other thing is the word vignette. The stress is on the second syllable. You were saying vignette, but it's vignette. Vignette. And then in your conclusion, you mention your next steps, which is great, but you should really, again, return to the thinking, the intellectual work you are doing behind your stories. So these vignettes depict a future where everyone is desperate for something and no one is happy. And they connect to Lanier's description of a future of an economy where information is always for sale. Okay? So just conclusion. Does that make sense? I hope so. You cannot answer me because I'm recording. But please do let me know if you have any questions, and we can talk more about this on Monday. Thanks.